Once upon a time, AMG extracted everything they could out of the SL. It was called the SL65 AMG Black Series. Now, a lot of people complained, despite the fact that it had a 6-liter twin-turbo V12 under the hood, making well over 1,000 pound-feet of torque, that it was too heavy and the 5-speed automatic transmission could not keep up. So AMG answered with the SLS AMG. Finally, a dedicated halo car we can all get behind. Those have held such good value in the used market. Now, what followed that was the first-gen AMG GT. Not as good looking as its two predecessors, but still a very competent rear-wheel drive car. Behind me is the follow-up to those cars, the GT63 AMG, and it sits on the same platform as the current SL. Did Mercedes and AMG learn nothing? All right, GT63 AMG. Do not look down at the speedo. This is an insanely fast car. Biturbo 4-liter V8 under the hood. In AMG land, it's a very familiar engine. It's ridiculously quick, okay? So this is not the GT63 SE performance, I believe. It's a long, unnecessary name, and yeah, it has 800 horsepower, 1,000 pound-feet of torque, something maniacal and ridiculous, absurd. That car is about 500 pounds heavier than this. No, this does not have any of this. This is the last untainted GT63. It might be, we'll see, but it still has 577 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. Not only does it sound a lot better than the Nettuno V6 and the Maserati Gran Turismo I recently drove, but it also makes a butt-ton more torque. It's mostly the torque that you feel here. So even in comfort mode here, we'll just allow it to get down to like 1800 RPM. There's boost. Okay, so you do kind of have to be above, 2400 RPM. So do you want to rev all the way to 7,000 RPM or just past? You don't need to once you feel the torque, and then you just get some of that exhaust note, and then you just get the satisfaction of hearing the blip on the upshift. And that's kind of what you're hunting for. It's the theater more than anything. It has 4MATIC Plus all-wheel drive. So this is the default in most of the GT lineup, and we'll get to one exception in a second here, but it will send up to 50% of the torque to the front wheels, and it can send, if we go Sport, Sport Plus, over to race mode, you are able to go into drift mode with the GT63, so sending up to 100% of the torque to the rear wheels. It's still there if you want it. Look around, guys. Unfortunately, it is, what do we have, 7.5 degrees Celsius out today, and it rained last night. So here's the real test, okay? So I'm gonna insert a clip right now. Frank and I tried launch control yesterday in the pouring rain, and we are on Michelin Pilot Sport 5S tires, 295s in the front, 305s in the rear. It did not like it. It was bucking all over the place. It would give you a little bit at the beginning of the launch, and then would back out of it, not just a little bit for traction control, like a lot, completely, and then get back into it, and then it was fine. But it did not like that.
Did you feel the seatbelt?
Oh yeah,
the seatbelt
sucks you back.
Yo,
it's like a straitjacket.
Yeah, it's like, all right, boys, we're about to lift the off.
You feel that though? It launched, gave a bunch of power, and then backed off, and then gave a bunch of torque, and then backed off. Come on, Mercedes.
Jeez.
Get your launch in order. If we were on dry pavement, this would, I'd imagine, just...
It would leave out the gate, dude.
There we go. 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. And yes, to a certain extent, I do miss the NA62 blah, blah, blah. You've heard it a million times before. But this engine is absolutely, and the road presence of this car, those are the two things that are the highlights here. Rear end coming out a little bit there. If we go back into comfort mode, it's supposed to do everything. It's supposed to be comfortable. This has AMG Active Ride Control, which consists of two things, okay? So adaptive suspension, that's all well and good. So it also consists of a hydraulic anti-roll bar system. So that works with the adaptive dampers in real time to aggressively adjust how much body roll the car gets. And then on the other side, if it wants to loosen things up, it can do that alongside the dampers. So you're getting kind of two sides of the coin in one here. It's not just that the dampers would get a little bit softer, but it's also you'll feel a little bit more body roll, and that is the case. Now, in comfort, it irons out a lot of the little stuff, still stiff. This is noticeably stiffer than the Maserati Gran Turismo I drove. Not only that, it's the road noise. It's a little bit louder, and that does have to do a lot with this tire setup. These tires are a lot wider than that Gran Turismo, and it's just, it feels immediately, in any drive mode, at any time, it feels like it's 2 shots of espresso ahead of you. It's super twitchy, the throttle, the turbos want to spool up, light up, any amount of throttle, even in comfort, and it just feels like it wants to jump out of its skin. And the steering's like always super direct. So in that sense, it feels alive all the time, which in a grand touring car on a road trip, maybe you don't want. As far as the AMG brand goes, that's exactly what I want. This is supposed to be the ultimate GT car. This is AMG's flagship coupe. First off, it looks stunning. They did not change a whole lot from the previous generation. That grille actually got introduced on the previous generation AMG GT Black Series, which still to this day is one of the quickest rear-wheel drive cars around the Nürburgring as far as production cars go. So if that is a testament, if that is not a testament to maybe why AMG should have kept rear-wheel drive, I don't know what is, but oh my. You might want to grab your pitchforks, because I'm okay with all-wheel drive if it means hitting the snow or going places the SLS could never dream of, putting miles on the car. But in a perfect world, the additional weight would be the only compromise. Okay, so let's talk about that SL65 AMG Black Series again for a second. Like I said, people were complaining it was a little bit too heavy. Funny thing is, the GT63 AMG has worse off weight distribution. It's got 54% of the weight over the front axle and 46% over the rear. A little bit of a compromise, and that's due to a couple of reasons. The previous generation was a dry sump setup, allowing the engine to sit a little bit lower in the chassis. Not only that, but that car had a rear-mounted transaxle. The transmission was behind you, so it evened it out just a little bit. If you want a more balanced, nimble car, you can get the GT43 AMG, the entry level of the GT Coupe, and it costs almost $100,000 less than this, but you have to put up with a 2-liter inline-4 turbo. It's rear-wheel drive, but could you imagine driving your GT63, seeing somebody with a GT43 AMG, and then watching the people on the sidewalk look at their car the same way they're looking at your GT63 that cost double as much? Would that take away from your hard work and your purchase as a buyer? I'm not sure. On top of that, yeah, this twin-turbo 4-liter V8 is also in the Aston Martin Vantage. That's all good, right? Share the love. In that car, it makes 79 additional horsepower. It's compromised again and quote-unquote watered down the GT63 AMG. All of this, you guys, has me a little bit worried, because the last time we saw two cars come into one was the Volvo V60 Polestar, and 12 to 24 months after I drove that car, they killed it. It was dead. They combined the plug-in hybrid buyers and the Polestar buyers into one awesome wagon, but it was just compromised enough that maybe people lost interest, and now it's not available. And perhaps making this car appeal to a wider audience, making it a little bit more daily friendly, will enable AMG down the line to create from those profits a more dedicated halo. But for now, look at this trunk. This is some redemption right here. It is a massive hatchback that opens up here. You are able to spec rear seats, although compared to the Gran Turismo, they're laughable. I would just leave it as is with the cargo shelf. Thing is, if you spec the rear seats, you can fold those down. Here, this little wall here, you can't fold this down. Sure, we have this cargo cover. That's all well and good, but so if you want to put skis or a snowboard, I mean, this is all-wheel drive. Let's go. Let's extract the full potential out of it. You can't. You could easily take this on a very long road trip, and even underneath this section here, there is a little bit more storage space. This one's been spec'd with carbon ceramics, so they are unbelievable in a performance driving scenario. The brake pedal actually feels like my foot's directly connected to the pads. Insane, everything you would expect. The force is ridiculous. At lower speeds, they are a little bit twitchy around the city. If I had one of these, depending on how many track days I was gonna do, I would probably spec the standard composite brakes. This one's also been spec'd with the AMG Sport Bucket seats. Not for big people. The bolsters are insane. I'm sat like so low down in the car. Usually I get into a sports car like this and I set the seat as low as it can go. I don't in this car because like I can't even see over the hood. So props to AMG for this. They've still, despite the fact that it's all-wheel drive, there's a lot more weight, they have not compromised driving position and ergonomics. The steering wheel's great, minus the haptic feedback steering wheel buttons. It's just frustrating to control, especially while driving. I love the two dials here with all your AMG controls. Nose lift optioned on this car, that is a must. You need that. And that nose lift is connected and controlled by that hydraulic system that controls the anti-roll bars. It is an incredibly slow nose lift. The Gran Turismo's nose lift was at least 3 times quicker. Here's one thing though, you are not able to put on your either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay integrated maps, Google Maps, Apple Maps, in the gauge cluster. You can only use native navigation. I feel like I've said this a lot with cars, but a Grand Touring car needs to be able to do that. This one's got the glass sunroof here. And the center screen here, compared to something like an S-Class, S580, this is awesome because it's a little bit closer than it was in that car. And yeah, you give up some space, obviously, but I would have appreciated a few more physical controls here, especially for climate. It's easy enough to use, it's just, it requires you to look down. It is a requirement to take your eyes off the road. So software is responsive. However, if you want to adjust your side bolsters, you want to get into like the audio settings, they're kind of deep in the menu system and it gets a little bit confusing. And it's just a lot to take in. You really need to kind of sit down and take a few days, if not a week, to really get situated here. And this one's been spec'd with a Burmester audio system. Great stuff, carbon fiber everywhere, but it's not overboard. It is flashy. This is an AMG and it will not let you forget that. Materials are pretty good. I mean, you guys have seen this. You can kind of push in the door card here, but stitching, as far as I can tell, perfect. These vents, they're just super plasticky and they kind of creak every now and again. Ugh. I mean, even in cold temperatures, the contact patch on the ground is not going anywhere. Rear view mirror, the wing pops up for a second there. And the anti-roll bars, I mean, the car is so sticky, so planted. There's almost not enough road to drive this car. And that's why I say you definitely don't need 800 horsepower with the hybrid. It is so substantial that you need a track to extract everything out of it. And that's one area where the Gran Turismo, I didn't feel like I really needed to take that to a track. This car, required reading is a track day. Wow. Downshifts are snappy. They don't upset the car. And this 9-speed speed shift, AMG calls it, transmission is not a dual clutch, but it's also not a torque converter transmission. So it has a wet clutch, which reduces inertia off the line and makes shifts a little bit quicker. And it is a quick gearbox. Yes, compared to the hybrid, it's lightweight, but compared to, I don't know, the previous generation, it is heavy, just over 4,200 pounds. And I think the rear steer, this car has rear steer, that helps with it. It can't touch the 911 as far as steering feel goes, but the car feels rear biased. It really does. And if it's going to have a tendency to do anything, it's oversteer. So sharp. The front end in this car is substantial. The turn-in is immediate, to say the least. The Maserati had a little bit of give. It's a little bit smoother in that car to kind of turn in. This car is a little bit twitchier. The grip, though, is insane. And you feel that even just at low speeds in the alignment in the rain. The tires like skip because the camber and the toe changes so much when you go close to full lock. Now, the price of this is where it gets interesting. It starts at 195,000 Canadian, and as spec'd today, we're looking at $231,000 Canadian. That's Vantage money, and it's not the added power that's tempting me, it's the exclusivity, style, and sense of focus. I love this car, and it's probably the sweet spot in the lineup, but AMG is deep in the gray area between Halo and four-season Grand Touring. This is not a poster car, but it solves just about every problem a cross-country drive could throw at you, including the itch to slam curbs at the track. So the new 992 Carrera GTS 4, an all-wheel drive GTS with those new electronic turbos, not quite a full-on plug-in hybrid system, but it is added weight. That car is 500 pounds lighter than this car. That is the Porsche magic, that last little bit that AMG just cannot touch. It could absolutely be your daily driver. It does everything. I just really hope that this is not a sign that the end is near. Come on, AMG, bring us a new flagship. There's too big of a gap. The gap between this and the AMG One is cavernous. It's massive. Let's stick something in the middle, shall we? Something lighter, something not necessarily rear-wheel drive, but something closer to the philosophy of a GT3 RS. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you soon.